The 2025 Daytona 500 is right around the corner as the month of January has now officially begun and February's next. And we're going to see the Daytona 500. There's going to be a lot of new drivers at new places. So I want to give y'all a little refresher on what drivers moved and what drivers stayed for the 2025 season. But enough said here, and on to the intro we go. Driving the number one car for 2025 is going to be Ross Chastain. I believe he is the best driver that the team has when it comes to overall capabilities, because I believe Shea Van Gisbergen is going to get many race victories in 2025, but at road courses only. And Chastain's going to be in the mix every single weekend. And yes, he missed the playoffs last year, but he didn't win. But I believe that changes in 2025. The two car is going to be Austin Cindric, I believe. Last year kind of saved his career, if you will, because he made the playoffs, winning Gateway. So I believe this year is going to be a little stress-free. So I'd expect a calm and relaxed Austin Cindric, and it may result in a couple of victories, if you will. But yeah, he is going nowhere anytime soon. Three-car Austin Dillon, I believe his time with the three-team in RCR overall in the Cup Series is getting ready to end. Because we all know Richard Childress is his grandfather, and I just don't know how much racing Austin Dillon has in his future, because he's got a family growing, and I just find a hard time believing him being in the Cup Series within the next 5 to 10 years. I just see the way he's been struggling on track. I believe RCR is going to give him a big management role, and he'll take it and leave the three-car vacated. The four-car, Noah Gragson, this right here is a big deal. Noah Gragson moved over from Stewart-Haas Racing after they closed down, and now he's with a team that was suddenly nobody, now a Tier 1 Ford organization. So Noah Gragson has the potential to go out there and win races week in and week out. So big ride for him, and he's probably the star driver they have right beside Todd Gilliland. The 5-car is Kyle Larson. The 6-car is Brad Keselowski. The 7-car is Justin Haley. This right here, I believe, is a bridge ride. And you may say, William, what is a bridge ride, if you will? I believe, since he jumped sail from his previous ride to this one, I believe he's going to go to Rick Hendrick next year. Because Rick Ware Racing was promising him good results and a potentially RFK ride for next year. Obviously, that didn't happen. So he jumped sail to Spire, and Spire is a close alliance to Rick Hendrick. And the way Alex Bowman's been struggling, I believe Haley, if he does good on track, he will be a shoo-in for that 48 in 2026. The 8-car is Kyle Busch. Big year for him, contract year. If he doesn't like it, he's out. And he's going to have zero difficulty of finding a new ride. Because he's a very popular driver, and he's very marketable, and a lot of people want to sponsor him. But like when Kyle Busch raced for Joe Gibbs Racing, he was the villain. Just like when Tom Brady and the Patriots first came on the scene, they were the heroes, and they became the villain. But when he switched to Tampa Bay, he became a hero all of a sudden. And Kansas City, they started off as the cool people, the people everyone wanted to root for. But when they went Super Bowl to Super Bowl, people want to hate him. Kyle Busch came onto the scene. He had some fans, and then he started to win a lot. People hated him. He moved to RCR, and all of a sudden, he's a likable driver. So he's going to have zero difficulty finding a new ride, and he's going to have plenty of sponsorship to follow him. All right, here the 9-car, Chase Elliott. I believe it's a big year for him. Struggled a lot last year besides the Texas win, and I believe he was the weakest link last year, so has a lot to prove. The 10-car is going to be Ty Dillon for Colleague Racing, and the 11-car will be Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin, he's starting to come to the final stages of his career, and he's still competitive. And I just don't know how much longer he's going to race with Joe Gibbs Racing, as his own team is growing year in and year out. I got a theory, though, where you can see a scenario where his contract plays out and Riley Hurts plays out, and give it a couple of years. I know this is full of speculation, but I could see him racing for his own team in 2027, 2028. But that's further down the road. That's for a whole nother video. But I just wanted to throw that out there because contract seasons, contracts is something it's never too soon to talk about, because anything can happen. We saw it with Reddick. when he first signed to 2311 Racing. He initially signed for 2024, but he jumped sail in 23, and just there you go there. Alrighty there, moving on, Ryan Blaney in the 12 car. Driving a 15 car for Ware Racing next year, or this year more like, is going to be an all-star ride. We're not going to see one particular driver race the whole year, as you would expect, but they're going to bring in different drivers, which will bring in different loads of sponsorship money, so it's going to keep that ride in a team afloat. So you really can't complain, because Ware Racing is really the worst team on the grid, and the least fun team on the grid. So they're doing all they can to keep it going. And once you realize the part where they're trying to bring in drivers to bring in money, you kind of respect it. But ultimately, it shouldn't be like that. It should be, if you're a talented driver, you should be in a ride. No worry about funding. But we're in a world that we got to worry about it. So just the way it is. The 16 car, AJ Allmendinger. I believe his second stint in the NASCAR Cup Series with Colleague Racing is going to be a success, because we saw a big flash, if you will, towards the end of his first term. And he won at the Roval. He was competitive on all of the tracks. So I got high hopes for Allmendinger, but we'll see how things go there. 17 car, Chris Buescher. And the 19 car, Chase Briscoe. That sounds very weird, because Chase Briscoe, throughout his whole career, minus a little bit of ARCA, was a Ford driver. Ford invested a lot of money into him. And last year, the best thing they were able to offer him was the Wood Brothers. Briscoe felt betrayed. He looked elsewhere, and that's when Joe Gibbs came ringing, and he answered the phone. He took the offer, and I believe he's going to prove Ford wrong. Ford should have done a lot more to keep him, and there you go there. Just the way things go in NASCAR and business, and Briscoe's now with Toyota. Toyota has stolen yet another Ford development driver. Already here, the 20 car is going to be Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell is going absolutely nowhere. I believe he is the face of Joe Gibbs Racing in the future. Right now, you got Hamlin. He's at the end of his career, but when he goes, it's going to be Bell, because Bell is way better than Ty Gibbs will ever imagine being. And Chase Briscoe could be right there, but he has a lot to prove in year one. All right, 21 car, Josh Berry. Josh Berry, I just don't know about this ride. The Wood Brothers does have a little bit of promise with the alliance they have with Team Penske, but Team Penske last year, with the alliance they had with the Wood Brothers, we didn't really see Harrison Burton do much. And yes, I believe it's a result of him actually struggling and kind of sucking, if you will, in the NASCAR Cup Series. But we'll see about Josh Berry. Is it the car or is it the driver? We'll figure that out this year. I think Berry's a good enough driver to make it loud and clear to the fans and everybody in the media that whether or not it's the driver from last year or it's a car, because we'll see it early on. Alrighty, here, the 22 car, Joey Logano. 23, Darrell Wallace Jr., also known as Bubba Wallace, and had a rough year last year. I believe he'll bounce back this year, maybe win a race or two. Time will tell. The 24 car of William Byron. The 34 car of Todd Gilliland. Todd Gilliland last year drove the 38 car. The year before, he was flip-flopping with many different rides. But him going to the 34 kind of solidifies his future with the team, because the front row motorsports, people look at that team and they think of the 34 car. The 34 car is always the best driver they have. They had it with Michael McDowell. They had it with David Reagan and so on. And Chris Buescher. I can keep going on and on. If you get that ride, you're the face of that organization. And Todd Gilliland got it. And I believe he has a lot of weight on his shoulders heading into the year, because the 34 number is a very honorable number for the team. And so I believe he's got a lot of weight on his shoulders, and he's going to do well. He's going to get a couple of good results. It wouldn't surprise me if he went to victory lane for the first time in his career, with them being now a Tier 1 organization. But time will tell. The 35 of Riley Herbst, and the 38 car of Zane Smith, reuniting with the team he once raced for in the NASCAR Truck Series and also part-time in the Cup Series. Driving the number 41 car for the Haas factory team is going to be the son of Joe Custer, Mr. Cole Custer himself. Cole Custer had a little stint in the NASCAR Cup Series already with the formerly known team as Stewart Haas Racing, which is now rebranded as the Haas factory team. We have seen Tony Stewart kind of disassociate himself with the sport. So Gene Haas and Joe Custer kind of running this program right now, if you will. And I believe Custer is going to do well. But you got to give him some time, because this team has got to have some time. Because remember, Stewart Haas Racing last year wasn't a perfect product, if you will, on track. They still got a lot of work to do, but I believe this year, though, with a new alliance with RFK Racing, is going to be, you just got to give it some time. I would say if it's not figured out by the summer, it's going to be a doom, but be patient is all I got to say. The 42 car, John Hunter Nemechek, big year for him. He sucked it up last year. He's got to prove himself this year. The 43 of Eric Jones, same thing last year. He sucked. Has to prove himself because the Toyota camp is very promising, if you will. There's a lot of good drivers coming up, so they're in the hot seat. All right, here, the 45 car is Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick, last year, should have probably won the championship, was the best car in the playoffs, but just the way things are formatted, you really can't say, hey, he deserved it more than any other driver, just because you got to get hot at the right moment, and that's what Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano did to get them in the final race, and Logano ultimately won the championship. The 47 car of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. losing Jody and Tad Schechter is going to hurt the team, but give them some time. Alrighty there, the 51 or 48 car of Alex Bowman, the 51 of Cody Ware. Nepotism. Cody Ware doesn't deserve an opportunity, in my opinion, after the things he's done off track. But it's not my place to say that he doesn't deserve it. But he's messed up a lot off track, so I'm sure when I say this, he doesn't deserve it. A lot of people will agree. But he genuinely messed up, and he shouldn't be rewarded. NASCAR shouldn't let that slide. Righty there, moving on. You got Ty Gibbs. Ryan Preece in the 60 car. Be patient. Like I said, similar to the Haas Factory team. He's a new driver with a new team with RFK Racing going full time. I just think the two main cars at RFK are going to get the good equipment first, and they're going to start helping out with setups, this and that, at certain tracks. I think if Preece isn't good by the short track triple header, or it's a whole month of short track racing, it seems like, in April. You got Martinsville, Richmond, Bristol. If he's not good at any of those tracks, I would generally worry. And I mean, you got a couple of months down the road where you got a couple of tough tracks, and you got Nashville, and if he can do good there, I would generally, and that Iowa, he's got some good tracks this year, is all I'm trying to say. If he doesn't do good at them, I could see it being a one and done. Already here, moving on. Got the 71 car of Michael McDowell. Definitely going to be a big year for him. I believe he can be the face of the organization. Spire Motorsports is growing, and before you know it, they're going to be probably the biggest team in NASCAR one day. I know how crazy that sounds, but if there's a new manufacturer to ever come into NASCAR, Spire will be the first team to jump board, because they got a truck program, they got an Xfinity program, and they got a Cup program. It'd be a triple whammy, and right there is a manufacturer's dream. So Spire is going to be one of the biggest teams one day. So just give it time. I know that may sound crazy. The 77 car of Carson Hocevar, the 88 of Shane Van Gisbergen, and the 99 of Daniel Suarez, who won last year in Atlanta in an epic photo finish. But there you go. There is the official 2025 NASCAR Cup Series driver lineup. Would you be interested to see the Xfinity lineup? Comment down below. What do you think? Who do you think is going to win the championship? Comment down below. I'm very curious to see. Please like and subscribe.